Hello, good morning friends. Myself, Dhaval Mistry. I am assistant professor in Mechanical Engineering Department in Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, which is situated in Navsari. Today we are going a presentation on a types of resistance welding. First we discuss about a definition of resistance welding. Resistance welding is a group of welding process in which welding heat is obtained from resistance of the work to flow a electric current and by the application of pressure. No, no filler metal is or flux is added. This is the definition of resistance welding. Then the working principle is the in resistance welding a low voltage and a very high current is passed through the joint for very short time. This high ampere hits the joint because heat generated in resistance welding can be expressed as a H is equal to I square RT. The where H is equal to total heat generated in the work in joule. I is equal to electric current ampere. T is equal to time for which the electric current is passed through the joint in second, and R is equal to resistance of the joint. This is the working principle of the resistance welding. Next is types of resistance welding. There are mainly four types of resistance welding. First one is spot welding, seam welding, projection welding, and flush butt welding. There are mainly four types of resistance welding. First we discuss about a spot welding. Spot welding is a resistance welding process in which overlapping sheets are joined by local fusion at one or more spots by the heat and pressure is applied by the electrode one above and other below the workpiece. The heat generated because the resistance to the flow of electric current through workpiece. See in a figure there are two plates and above and bottom are the electrodes. Simple types of resistance welding: two copper electrodes with anvil face and create a circular nugget 4 to 7 mm. Procedure is first is the job should be clean. It should be free from gases, dirt, paint, scale and oxide etc. Clean the electrode tip surface very fine. Emergency cloth may be used for routine cleaning. Water is kept running through a electrode in order to cool the weld and avoid the electrode from getting overheating. Proper welding current has been set on the current selector switch. Proper time has been set on a welder time. Electrodes are brought together against the overlapping workpiece and pressure is applied so that the surface of the two workpieces come in physical contact with each other. Welding current is switched on for the defined period of time. As the current passes, a small area where the workpiece are contained is heat and the spot weld taken place. The temperature of weld zone is approx 815 degrees Celsius to 930 degrees Celsius. After the welding takes place, the welding current is cut off. Extra electrode force for the applied or the origin force or propellant hold until the metal cools down and gains strength. After that, electrode pressure is released to remove the spot welding workpiece. This is the procedure of the spot welding. The advantages of spot welding is low cost, less skilled worker can be perform this welding, higher productivity, operation may be made automatic or semi-automatic, no edge penetration is needed. Application of the spot welding is welding of low carbon steel, high speed steel, stainless steel, aluminum, copper, nickel alloy, etc. In automobile and aircraft industry, steel household furniture and containers. There are the application of this spot welding. Next is the seam welding. Seam welding is a resistance welding process in which overlapping sheets are joined by local fusion progressively along a joint by rotating the circular electrode. Fusion taken place because of heat which is generated from the resistance to current flow through the work parts which are held together under pressure by electrode. It is also known as a continuous spot welding. Roller types of electrode are used. Create a continuous weld joint. The time and movement of electrode is controlled while overlapping and workpiece does not get to hit. See in a figure. Principle of operation is the workpiece be a seam weld are clean overlaps suitable and placed between the two circular electrodes which clamp the workpiece together by electrode force. Switch on the coolant supply. In some machine, the electrodes are cooled by external spray of water. In other, the electrodes are cooled by refrigerant fluid that flow inside the working electrodes. Switch on the current supply as the first current impulse is applied. The power drive circular electrodes are set in a rotation and the workpiece steadily move forward. Then in the circuit, in a put of the quickly and a continuous fusion zone made up of overlapping nugget and obtain. It is known as teaching welding. If the individual spot weld are obtained by constant and regularity time interpret of the weld current, the process is known as roll or spot welding. It is the procedure of the seam welding. Then the advantages of seam welding is it can produce gas tight or liquid tight joint. Overlap can be less than the spot or projection weld. Several parallel seams may be produced. Disadvantages of seam welding is cost of equipment is high as compared to spot welding. Welding can be done only along a straight or uniformly curved line. It is difficult to weld a thickness greater than 3 mm. Application of seam welding. It is used for welding of stainless steel, aluminum and its alloy, nickel and its alloy, magnesium alloy, etc. This is the seam welding. Next is projection welding. Projection welding is another advancement of spot welding where one of the sheet to be a joint is provided with the number of projection to be held localized the current and the predetermined spot. Thus the surface of the workpiece are in contact with each other only at the projection. See in a figure. Dimple is produced on a workpiece and flat electrodes and the projection welding. See in a figure. As the current is switched on, it will pass through this projection because of heat produced due to the resistance to the flow of electric current. These projections are made and are passed together to complete the weld. By pressing the upper electrode downward, the melted projection from the weld welding can be done at several points simultaneously. The projections are generally very small, of the order of 0.8 mm, and are obtained by means of embossing. The advantages of the projection welding is that it is possible to weld more than one spot at a given time. The weld may be placed closer than the spot welding. Proper heat balance can be easily obtained. Projection are to be made is thicker plate or in the plate which is having higher electrical conductivity. Life of electrode is much longer than the life of electrode in spot welding. The uniformity and appearance of the weld is better as compared to spot welding. Disadvantages of projection welding is making a projection is an extra operation. All projections should be a same height. Metal which cannot support the projection cannot be welded satisfactorily. Application of projection welding: small fastened nuts etc. can be welded large component. It is used for welding of refrigerator, condenser, joining of fire etc. Welding of stainless steel parts, titanium alloy and monel alloy etc. Next is flash butt welding. Flash butt welding is a similar to offset welding except that the heat required for the melting is obtained by means of an arc rather than the simple resistance heating. The procedure is that the welding once the workpiece to be a joint is clamped is moved a platen while the Other is mounted on a fixed platen. The workpiece held in a movable platen is moved bring toward the workpiece which held is stationary plate until light contact has been established. When the welding current is switched on, flashing is established. This flashing produces the welding heat. When sufficient heat is produced, more pressure is applied so that should joint taken place. After that, welding current is cut off and the workpiece are unclaimed. Advantages of flash butt welding is it consumes less welding current than offset butt welding process. Flash welding other offers strength factor up to 100%. Preparation of weld surface is not required. The process is cheap. It is a faster process. And the disadvantages of flash butt welding is the constantly of straight workpiece during welding a difficulty to maintain. The shape of the workpiece should be a similar, which is not always possible. Chance to fire hazard are there. Flasher may be cause eye trouble. Application of flash welding, it is used for the welding of bar rods tubes. It is also used for the welding of saw blade. It continuous loops, taps, reamers to alloy steel shank. This is the flash butt welding. Then the advantages and disadvantages of the resistance welding is that first one is the it can be weld a thin 0.1 mm as well as thick metals. Then the high welding speed, easily automatic, and other is the very little skill is required to operate the resistance welding machine. High production rate is so well suitable for mass production. Heating of the workpiece is confined to very small parts which result in a less restoration. No filler rod and flux is needed. It is possible to weld dissimilar metal as well as metal plates of different thickness. Semi-automatic equipment are available. There are no consumable used in this process except for the electrical power and a relatively small electrode wear. As a result is a very economical process. Then the disadvantage is high equipment cost. The thickness of the workpiece is limited due to a current required. The and another is certain resistance welding operations are limit only a lap joint. Skilled person are needed for maintenance. Bigger job thickness cannot be welded. Then the application of the resistance welding joining seat bars and tubes, making a metal furniture, making a fuel tank of cars, tractors, etc., making a containers, welding aircraft and automobile parts. This is the application of resistance welding. In this video, we are covering the types of resistance welding. It is a very important question in asked in a GTU exam for 7 marks. Thank you.